Today's letter is T. What does it mean? Iced tea and tinker time. So let's go look at what we're working on today. Those. Yep. So you might remember that we did the rear deck lid before, which is back there. And today, we're going to be working on here, right there. So anyway, sit tight and let me remember to look at the camera over here every time I do these recordings. That's why it always looks weird. And I'll explain how to get this apart. See you soon. Okay, so this should be a relatively simple job. The amount of tools we're going to need are very small. This is going to be a pretty low Samuel L. job, I suspect. What you're going to need is a T20 bit for your screwdriver, obviously. There's a T20 socket back there. I think they're along the bottom also. And if not, then the other thing you're going to need is a Phillips. Now, I think, if I remember right, there's one Phillips and all the rest are T20s. So you need that bit there, I don't know if it's gonna focus, that bit there, and a T20. And then the most important thing you're gonna need are trim tools. Don't use screwdrivers, use trim tools. Because you're going to have to take this apart, and if you don't do this correctly, you will break what's back here. And then you get to buy a whole new one of these. And vulgarities will follow, believe me. So anyway, the first thing we're going to do is I'm gonna have to go in here and I'm gonna take this little rubber pocket out, or cover. Hang on, stand by. I didn't trim my fingernails just so I can do this. There we go. And there's your Phillips screw there. So I'm gonna try to do this one-handed. I'm sorry if the camera's a little shaky today. I'm a little shaky every day. Magnetic tips are really nice to use. Sorry if the focus is a little out. I guess another useful thing to have is a pair of needle nose in case your fingers aren't long enough. One Phillips screw. Alright, so that's out. Sorry, shaky. Okay, I'm gonna come around to here. And you see this little grommet here? So you're gonna want to take this T20 out here. Sorry, action shot. Okay, gently. Okay, I'll pull that out. I'm gonna grab this grommet. This is a two-piece grommet, so I'm gonna leave that in for just now. There should be another one right there. These will all be two-piece grommets. I gotta lay on my back. There's two more, here and here. Sorry, finger. Should have brought my electric drill, but honestly these are coarse thread. I don't mind doing this by hand. If you over tighten them, you'll break the clips too. That's not smart. All right, so that should be it. none on the inside, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so that's that. So all the screws are technically out. So now we gotta take apart this panel here. And to do that, you're gonna wanna take your trim tool, like so. You're gonna wanna work it up right about here. Take your time. Lift gently. Try not to force it too much, so you'll feel the clip start to give. Right? Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to do this while holding the camera in the right spot. Okay. Now, the big trick to this is there's a clip back here, and it goes underneath here. So what you want to do is you want to pull that way. That way. You're gonna lift up and go that way. Because if you break that, you will be pissed. Come on. Oh, maybe there's one more. Let me try right here. It just feels like there's something right there, but I already got the screw out, so it's just being tight because I don't think this has ever come off before. Plus I have mosquito biting me on the wrist. There we go. So, this is the bit I'm talking about, right there. If you pull straight up, you will break that off. That goes underneath here. So when you lift this, you want to pull up and forward to get this up and out of the way. Next thing you're going to want to do is disconnect your switches. I'm going to need both hands for this, so what I'll probably do is I will meet you back. Well, I'll explain it first. So I'm going to pull these connectors off, and then I'm going to work the door panel out this way from the bottom with the trim tool around the perimeter, and then work those two grommets out. They're two halves. They look the same on both sides, so they pinch inward. So as soon as you get the door pocket up and out of the way, then you pull the two halves of the grommets out. I'll show you that once I get the door panel off.
2 very boring minutes later.
Okay, disregard all that stuff from earlier. I had to take the door panel apart anyway because I had to clean up a piece of tint over there. But to do the speakers, you don't have to take the door panel off. I also wanted to service the switches here, so at least you got to learn how to take that off without breaking it. As for this, you only got to take off this, the grill. And there's two clips here, and then you just kind of wiggle all the other clips out. There's two notches here that fit into those grooves there, so you go that way, that way, and then in. And remember to use your trim tools. Don't yank on them, you'll break the clips, then you'll have vulgarities. So anyway, it looks like unlike the rear, the fronts are two separate component speakers, which is cool. They didn't cheap out in the front like they did in the rear. But it appears to get this out 4 screws, and they even left you little notches up here to access those. So let me get those out. We'll pull this off, and then I'll show you how to do the swap. There's obviously plenty of room here for component speakers that stick out a little bit, so pretty sure my Pioneers are gonna fit just fine. Sit tight.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Okay, there we are, installed. Don't worry, I'll explain. So, like the rears here, there were 4 Phillips screws that held it in, but on the back side, in that cup in the back, there were 4 T10 headed screws around the perimeter on the back side. There's a foam backing, you just kind of have to feel around until you can feel the head. and then you back the screws out this way. So that clamshell sort of speaker box back there, the screws went down into it through here. So obviously you don't reuse those when you do this. Now the other thing is because this is a component speaker, it had a crossover built into it, and I didn't want to mangle anything, so I unplugged the crossover, positive and negative. And then with the speaker wires that came with the kit, it already had the speaker end on it, but then I had to make this end, obviously, to fit, you know, these two connectors here, go back to the factory connector in here. So once all that went together, then we took the new speaker and we placed it down into the cup, into the box, and the thickness of the cage of that speaker is just like 2 millimeters bigger than the box. So what I ended up having to do, and I'll show you, is I fed the box back into the door with the speaker sort of loosely fit in there. And I put the original insulation back in behind the speaker too to cover up the wires and whatnot. But I just kind of held the speaker in place in the center of this box, and then I ran the screws in until it started to squeeze it into the box. So it's a plastic box, so it'll spread ever so slightly, and the speaker cage itself is tapered, so it sort of wedge fit in there. Now the only difference between the factory speakers and mine are I was only able to get 3 of the 4 screw holes to line up. This one down here, I couldn't find the hole, but it's such a tight fit, I'm not really worried about it. I mean, the right way to do it would be to drill a new hole and tap it and then stick the other screw in there, but it's a plastic cage and a plastic door panel, so how long is that going to hold? So I'm just going to stick with the 3 original screw holes. This should hold just fine, it's not going anywhere. And you know, you just hand tighten them, don't gorilla tighten them, because if you strip this, you're done. Like, this whole panel's ruined. So just take your time, you'll feel it squeeze in, just grab it and try to move it, it ain't going nowhere. And then once you're done with that, just, you know, grab your cage and feed it into this tab here and this tab here, like so. A little bit of wiggle, like that. A little bit of wiggle, and just gently push. That's it. And the speaker didn't stick out far enough to mess with this, so everything's fine. Like, the new speaker sticks out a little bit proud compared to the original ones, but it's okay because this is so domed out that no problem. So anyway, minus the intro faux pas about the door panel, just doing this and the speakers on a level of Samuel L's, 1 Samuel L only, because you didn't need very many tools, and you only had to have 4 16 gauge flat blade female crimps for the wires so you can bypass the crossover, and that's kind of it really. Like, you didn't even have to take this apart. So I'm going to put this put that back together and then go do the other side much faster, because it's always faster on passenger side, because I did the driver's side first as I was recording. And truth be told, if I screwed this one up, then I would have recorded that side, but everything turned out fine. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a regular here, welcome back. Either way, check out my other playlists and see if my other interests may be of interest to you. This is Pwnery Tinkers. This was a speaker job on the front of a 2003 Thunderbird. It's good to 02s to 05, so if you were wondering how to do this, or maybe the beginning part with the door panels, now you know. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you later.
The boy does have good hands.
Good hands. Bad taste in cost.
Mother